attitudes and feeling of individuals towards the pandemic, but some other important aspects of it, such as vaccines, trust in experts, the fear of knowledge, but also the if they follow the measures that have imposed during the pandemic, using multivariate methods, combining cluster and correspondence analysis, and also conjoint. Our aim, as I said, is to explore profiles of respondents with reference to their stance towards pandemic, and also because we are in a political science department, the attitudes toward democracy, institution, and values. So let me say that we are based in a sample of almost 500 citizens, 541 to be correct, to be exact, from and we collect data through an electronic questionnaire in the period of March-April 2022. To analyze the data, we use Conjoint, the Conjoint analysis method, which is based on scenario questionnaires, and we are trying to analyze the attitudes toward vaccination, trust in experts and the state, risk of illness and about themselves, and the risk for someone in their social environment and family, and the compliance with measures to protect against COVID. This was in order to find the main effects of the five, as I said, the five factors: vaccination, trust, risk, and also if they follow the measures. And the design, the experimental design, is based on a D-max criterion of parameter variation and estimation. The main effect is estimated, and also to investigate the perceptions on democracy and moral values, we use the symbolic representation as we write in a book with Manousos Marangoudakis about the ideas of symbolic representation and cultural sociology, and the respondents were asked to choose pictures among two different sets of pictures supposed to represent themselves on democracy and also in moral values. And let me proceed with the results. The half of the respondents, they completed the questionnaires about the scenario, the scenario part, and the analysis show that the main factor is the trust in experts, and the second factor is the attitude towards vaccination. As you may see in this, the important factor is the trust, 42%, 43% of the total variation, and the second one is the idea, what they think about vaccination. So the utility, the maximum utility is people who trust specialists. They are decided about vaccines. They worry about themselves and family, and also they follow measures. But as I said, the two main factors is the trust in specialists, and also if they decided to vaccinate themselves. This is some statistical, descriptive statistics about for each of the five factors. As we may see, median is close to zero for fear undecided and concern, and half of it in trust, and follow the measure is exactly zero. But anyway, let's see the some other results about the information about COVID. We ask them to collect two of the sources of information about COVID, and as we may see, the vast majority choose internet to get informed about pandemic, 60% of the population, and the second most popular source of information are the specialists and the traditional media. They like TV and radio, while the least preferred option are the newspapers, friends and family. So also, as you may see, there was about 4% of the total population. They said, I don't know, I don't care about COVID, everything is quite okay. So we may say that the majority of people, they use internet and electronic newspapers and specialists to inform about information for information about COVID. We analyze the data through correspondence analysis. We get four main dimensions, and the thing is that let me proceed to the next one. We see that there are three specific groups. The one is of variables of sources of information. The one is newspaper and internet specialists. The other one is family, friends, and the social circle. And the third group is the other sources of information, TV, radio, newspapers, press, and social media. So the majority of people and the main source of information is the specialists and internet, talking about internet, not social media like Facebook or other applications and Instagram or whatever, but the newspaper and sites of informative sites. Then we have 7 clusters for sources of information through cluster analysis, hierarchical cluster analysis, and as we may say, there is the 30% of the population is informed through newspaper, internet, and TV and radio, and also 25% through newspaper, internet, and specialists. And just as we see, just 12% of 13% of people, they informed through the social circle and family and whatever. Then we can see the three major groups, as we mentioned before, the TV, radio, newspaper. Let me see what do they think about the 5 parameters we mentioned. A is the, let me see, A is the fear, B is vaccination, C and D is C is worry about family, D is about trust in specialists, and E is about measures. So let's see what they think about it. The ones they use newspaper and internet, and they inform through specialists. They say, I will be vaccinated, I fear for myself, I follow measures, and I have trust in specialists, and the ones they said, okay, I informed through friends and social circle, I will vaccinated by I don't fear about COVID, and the ones they use family and friends, social circle as a source of information, they say, I will not vaccinated, and I'm not follow the measures. As I said, B is the vaccination, and E is following measures. And uh, let me say something about feelings during COVID. We ask them to say some how they feel during COVID. As we suppose, the majority of people, they worry, they have anxiety, they feel loneliness and sorrow. Something like 80, let's say 80, 75 to 80%, and there were about 10% of population, they feel joy and carelessness during COVID, and the 14% of the population, they have anger about COVID. So the 10% they were happy with the COVID situation, 15% they feel they have anger, and the other ones, about 75%, they are they worry, they have anxiety and whatever. So the the interesting part of this is the 10% of the people, they have they feel good, they have joy and carelessness during COVID. Analyze it. Let me skip this also, because we will have the Fidel Castro lectures, as I said, if we talk about everything. But see that during COVID and after lockdown, the same question say that there were 15% of the population, they feel anxiety, fear. They don't like that the lockdown was. We are again free, and the lockdown. We don't have any lockdown, and also there were 70% in the middle, and the majority of people, about 70%, they feel excitement, joy, and relief that we are now in, let's say, close to normality again, as we said. That is that we are having the opportunity to go around and have some social occasions and whatever. So the 15% they are they don't happy with the ease of lockdown, and 75%, something like that, 70%, they feel a relief after that. So if we see who was happy before, and who is happy now, as we may understand, it is the majority of people who feel anger, and they are not happy before, during pandemic, after lockdown, are happy. So this is the usual. I suppose this is something we expect, that somebody who was feel bad during during lockdown, after lockdown, he will or she will be happy, and as we may see, the ones who was happy during lockdown, they are not happy with the ease of lockdown. So this is quite expected result, and we are happy that we managed to describe the whole situation. So, as we said, the interesting point coming out from the analysis is that both profiling during and after are connected between, and the respondents who had positive feeling during pandemic are the same who seem to feel bad about the end of the measures and to return to normality, as we may say, the normal everyday life, while the rest of the respondents who felt in a negative way, they are feel well after that. So let's say something about the symbolic representation to investigate perceptions on democracy and moral values. We exploit the symbolic representation. So we ask the respondents to choose pictures, 3 pictures among 2 different sets of pictures. The one set is about the idea of democracy. What does democracy mean to you? And the other one is about the moral values. And we say choose 3 pictures which represents you best from the. This is the descriptive statistics. As you may see, the half of the people, they choose the ancient Greek democracy for saying something about democracy. 1/3 of the people, they are about protest. 1/3 they say something, about the volunteering, and talking about values. The 1/3 says something about Christ. Half of them say something about volunteering, and 2/3 of the people, they say something about family. So this is the descriptive part, but analyzing it, we can see the groups and specific profiles and specific, let's say, representations of democratic self and moral self, and following the method, we have the behavioral and cultural discourses visualized in 2-dimensional system. We use for this visualization the idea of semantic map, that is a behavioral map, but we can see also and understand the antagonisms, the inner antagonism between discourses, assessing their position in the field and talking about them more specific. So let's say something more about sources of information. As I said, we have about talking about politics, we can see that there is a specific group of on information using social media, friends, and family. And another one, party and newspapers and internet. Another one about the usual mass media, newspapers, radio, and TV. So, talking about perceptions on democracy, having 8 clusters for democratic selves, we see that there is about 16% of people having the idea of democracy, the ancient Greece and church. That is something usual, as may say, in Greece, because there are a lot of people connecting church and the old Greek, ancient Greek democracy, and to see the groups, we have that there is we have a first axis where there is the one pole is the social struggle and the other one is democratic institutions, and in the second axis we have the antithesis between church and ancient Greece, and parliament, council, that is the traditional democratic institutions. You may see the 3 groups in the Cartesian diagram, and as we may see, the one on the right and the left is uprising, volunteering, protest, direct democracy, and talking about moral values, also we can, through this analysis, we see 2 axes. The first axis is the antithesis between naturalistic values and ethnocentric Greek values. That is something like, we may say it is progress and conservatism, or Galtan, something like the Galtan axis. And on the second axis, we have army against volunteering and nature. That is, it is the a well-known value also in Greece about army, and the antithesis with volunteering, the aggressive and caring people. Talking about institutions, we also see that we have trust in trust and no trust, the classical antithesis, as may say. There is trust in democratic institutions, not trust in democratic institutions. And in the second axis is the well-known antithesis between political and ecumenical institutions. Political institutions in the one pole of the antithesis, and the ecumenical institutions, that is European Union, business, and whatever, in the second axis. And talking about closeness to institutions, we also have some interesting part that there is, they feel close to the scientific community. The majority of people that is happy for us, we are part of the scientific community. So if we see that the majority of people, they are feel close to scientific community, it is good. Also, they are close to European Union and the parliament and the media. And the minority of people are close to police and army, So also we are happy because although we care about it, we don't like this traditional, I'm talking for myself, these traditional values. Let me say some words about the results and talking discussion. We are trying to present and investigate attitudes during pandemic and connect them with characteristics concerning feelings experienced by citizens during the period of pandemic and measures, and then after the removal, and also see political characteristics and personal values. As we say, the originality of this lies in the methodology we use, the conjoint analysis, in order to identify the main factors and the effect of each factor. As also, let me say that conjoint analysis is a market research methodology, but the main the good of it is that you don't have this strict you don't need to have a strictly representative sample. You having a sample, you can analyze it. Don't you independently of if it is a representative sample. That is, if you collect through internet or even to face-to-face questionnaires with scenarios, you don't have to think about the representativeness so strictly. I mean, if it is your sample, it is just for one part of the population. You can you have to think about it, but you don't need to keep the ratios and the quotas in the population in your sample. So this is something good for the conjoint analysis methodology, because it is based on the estimate through D-max criteria on the main effects and of the factor. So we are trying to see what do they think about pandemic. So we use symbolic representation as I mentioned, and using images in order to reveal the perceptions on democracy and personal framework on values. And we ask about the media for informing about pandemic and also about politics. So we see that television and radio was the main source of information, and then social media, internet specialists. So we see that those who prefer to be informed by their family and friends and their social environment are the ones who are more negative towards the vaccine, and they don't trust experts. Also, we have this time of the year, we have through the LSE, the London School of Economics, we have a project about what the people who don't vaccine, they are negative towards vaccine, and also they don't trust experts about the social profile. I suppose next, not this Congress, but the next Congress, we will have the results and present it. And about feelings, they, as we expected, the majority, they have negative feelings. And after the end of the measures, after the ease of the lockdown, they feel relief and positive. And there is a 15% of population who declares that during measures they are happy, and returning to the normality, they face negative feelings. And as also we expect, the first group, the people who are feel bad during pandemic and happy after pandemic, they agree generally with vaccine and measure and specialists. And the second group are afraid, more afraid of getting sick, and is negative towards vaccine specialists and measures. And also, women are more compliant with measures in generally speaking. They are not afraid as usually, but they are negative towards vaccine and specialists. Men, they said they are afraid for themselves and the social circle of them. They are positive about vaccine and specialists, but they don't follow measures. So they have two opposed behaviors for men and women. Also, talking about the students, they are the youngest people, they are negative towards vaccine and the specialists and measures. And they said that they are not worried about their social surroundings getting sick. So there are also other research about this, and in any case, it is unexpected also behavior for the youngest. They say, I'm not fear about COVID, I will be okay, I don't care about it. And the other ones, older age, workers, unemployment, etc., they are afraid of themselves and positive towards vaccine, and they follow measures and they trust experts. About political interests, the ones who are very interested in politics, they are afraid of getting sick and are positive to vaccines, but they do not trust specialists. And about mobilization seems to be linked to the attitude toward pandemic, those who declare to have low political mobilization, in other words, do nothing about a problem or let the responsibles to do their jobs. They are positive towards vaccination and experts and measures, and they worry about them, those around them. Let me skip this and say that the preferred source of information for politics seems to have a more incoherent pattern when it comes to attitudes toward a pandemic. From the analysis is the group of those who choose to be informed by friends and the social circle. They not afraid for themselves, and they do not trust experts. And the other ones who are informed by party are negative towards vaccine and experts, and negative toward measures and experts, those who are informed by traditional media such as television, radio, and whatever. And talking about the last part of the analysis is focus on symbolic representation. As I said, we can say those who connect democracy with process uprising and direct democracy are negative towards vaccine and experts, and those who perceive democracy as in its representative form are negative on all factors except vaccines, which they are vaccination, which they agree upon. So This is about the perception, democracy, and the connection with the five main factors. And about the moral, about the values and the moral groups, the Christ, voluntarism, family, and nature is the moral concept which is positive on all factors, feeling afraid of getting sick, worrying for others, and whatever. If you choose riot as a value with money, success, and volunteering, is negative to measures and trust for experts, but states they don't worry about others being sick. And also the traditional Greek ethnocentric triptychon, the nation, religion, family, army, religion, family, actually, supported by something like 10% of the sample. They don't feel afraid of getting sick. They do not trust experts, and they do not comply with measures, and they are pro-vaccines thought. Also against the vaccine, those who prefer naturalistic values connected to a personal well-being, such as nature, love, meditation. Anyway, I can say this is the last of the Fidel Castro lecture, transparent that the analysis managed to highlight the multilateral behavior of Greek citizens during pandemic. As I said, we use conjoint hierarchical cluster and correspondence analysis, which enables us to multi-level and joint analysis of variables. And this was the first attempt to investigate and analyze the phenomenon for Greece, but nevertheless, it can be a starting point for a series of analysis using the methodology also in other countries, and also with the possibility of a comparative approach between the different case studies. I suppose I have to stop, Stelios.
Thank you very much, Professor Chadjipadelis.